mind ain't nothing but a yesterday's guide. A little deep.
Not in the album.
Oh!
Know that deep down inside.
Hey folks, welcome back to Kubistar Music YouTube channel. Today it's a little bit different. I'm gonna call this a JamTalk. Well, I just think about it like, 15 minutes ago, JamTalk. But that's what I'm gonna call it, okay? So what we're gonna do today is, I have a guest, and with this guest, we're gonna play music, and she's gonna sing, and then I'm gonna play music, and we're gonna play a couple of songs, and we're gonna talk about for various things, like about life and career and all that kind of stuff. And I hope you guys enjoy this. And without further ado, I'm gonna introduce you to my guest.
Hi.
I'm gonna do it again. Well, she's a great friend of mine, and she's actually from Netherlands. That she came 3 years ago?
Almost 2.5.
2.5 years ago, she came from Netherlands to the United States, to LA.
We went to the same school.
We went to the same school that no longer exists nowadays. So sad story. I'll talk about it in the future videos. Everything is a content nowadays,
Yep.
So
it out.
right. So she came 2.5 years ago, and we quickly become a very good friend. And she has been getting a lot of break recently, right? And one little detail that I want to mention is she's half Indonesian. Yeah, that's very important. So, can you show them the wayang
Oh, yes.
tattoo?
Of course. Wait, did this one, that one?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, hold on. I guess.
All right, look at that. Look at that. What do you call that? Gununggang? What is Gununggang, guys? What is Gununggang? I don't even know what Gununggang is. Well, I know, right? I'm a fake Indonesian.
And he always calls me fake Indonesian.
I know. And hey, this girl knows how to make soto. Very good one.
My specialty.
Yeah, and we have a friend. Her name is Jacob Song, and we ate in in his place, and she cooked in his place, and man, he was like, whoa.
I didn't even know what he
So
was saying.
Yeah, well, it was a A1 type of soto. Like you can get it from the best street vendor in Indonesia. You know that in Indonesia the best food is actually in street vendors. Yeah, not in a big hotel or whatever. But yeah, so I probably never haven't mentioned her name, but her name is Kia Knoester. Knoester. Okay, just
Kia.
this is
Kia Knoester.
Kia Knoester. Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
After
Knoester.
2.5 years, he...
Yeah, I actually never pronounced that last name before. You know that?
Knoester, yeah.
Knoester,
Yeah.
because I've been always calling you Knoester.
Really?
I mean, like German, almost like German, like Knoester. Because that's what I thought, but that's not what it is, right?
That's not what it is.
And so, tell me about your family. Your dad is Indonesian, correct?
Yes. My dad, well, he's Indo.
He's Indo. What does it mean?
He's already a mixture.
Okay.
And so from my grandfather's side, so his dad, there is some African blood in there.
Oh.
That's why he's pretty dark skinned.
Uh-huh.
And
Because your mom is very white.
my mom is like white.
Yeah.
Blonde hair, blue eyes, typical Dutch person.
But you have a brown eyes.
Eyes are actually changing, which is very interesting. So I had
Are you
light
serious?
brown. Yeah, I always had light brown eyes.
Okay.
And since the past 3 to 4 years, I get green in it.
I can see that. Yeah, I
Look.
can see that.
Okay. I don't know what this looks like.
Well, it's a beautiful eyes anyway. So your dad is Indo, and he was born in Netherlands or in
He was the
Indonesia?
only one that out of his brothers and sisters that was born in the Netherlands. So
Oh.
he was in 1950s when they came with the boat from Indonesia
Okay.
to the Netherlands. My grandmother was pregnant with him.
Oh.
And then he was born in the Netherlands.
Like how months in? How many months in?
Good question.
You get it all right?
All I know is he was born. I never met my grandparents either, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
They
Okay.
already passed away before I was born.
Oh, sorry about that. Well,
Is what it is.
so your dad is from Sumatra, isn't it? Are you? I think that's what you said before. Or Sumatra
No.
or Sulawesi?
Sumatra.
Sumatra, right?
If
Right.
I'm saying this right, my grandmother
Uh-huh.
is. It's either one. So either the one is from Java, one is from Sumatra.
Okay. Okay, Java and Sumatra. That's a very difficult combinations because Javanese people are known to be very soft, very, very laid back, and Sumatran people are more like a straightforward type of persons. But and your dad looks very gentle, right? He's very soft spoken.
He's very, very soft, very calm.
Yeah.
He doesn't get angry at all. He
he's
coaches people. Well, unless you make him real angry, but then you've done something really, really wrong.
Oh wow! Oh, wow.
He coaches people. He trains people in how to speak in public and how to get the best out of themselves. And he's doing that with my brother and my extra sister.
Right. Well, that's what I really admire about you. You're very hardworking. And well, before we had this conversations, she told me about all the stuff that she's been doing over the years. Not only over the years, like over the pandemic season, and then for a lot of people, things gone sour in terms of career and whatnot. But she keeps climbing for some reason. So I'm really curious about what you've been doing correctly.
Well, I'm trying.
How about telling me this first then?
Okay.
What has been going very well in the recent months or weeks for you?
So I've been writing more than performing, obviously, because of COVID and everything that happened. More songwriting, so more for movies, shows, some commercials here and there, and started doing some voiceovers.
Voiceovers, right.
Yes.
That's amazing. So, how many movies are you working? Have you been working this year alone?
So recently, on the soundtrack of the animation movie Fearless, that was on Netflix. And there's an upcoming movie, German movie. It's based off of the Honey I Shrunk My. Was it the American version? Honey I Shrunk My.
I'm not sure.
Kids. I think that was the original, and then in Germany they made a German version of it. I think it was like Help I Shrunk My Teacher, I believe that was the first one, and the second sequel, and this is the third sequel that's coming out in January, so next month, which I'm really excited about. And I wrote 2 songs, co-wrote and sung on them, 2 songs for that movie.
Oh, amazing. So how many movies? Fearless. What is Madam? Madam is a show too, right?
Madams is a show, yeah.
It's a show.
It's a
TV show or it's a
web series.
Web series.
Yeah.
Okay. So you have Madam, Fearless.
I did another
German movies, right?
Yeah, another series called The Walkers.
The Walkers. Is it already?
That's on YouTube.
On
it's
YouTube,
a
right?
miniseries,
Got it.
Oh, and I'm working on a very new thing, a horror movie. But I can't tell too much about it, but it's going to be a future horror film.
Give us a little bit. Give us a little bit. Give us a little bit.
Well, the name? I can give you the name. How about that?
Okay.
Manifest.
Manifest. Manifest. Is it the one that already on? Is it the one that in the plan? In the plane?
No.
No. Okay, it's a different.
It's
different.
something completely new.
Okay, so that's been your movie that you've been working on, right? So, what other stuff that you've been doing that excites you?
Well, I actually recorded a full studio live album.
I heard about that.
During this great pandemic.
Oh, wow. It's been tough, huh? It's been tough putting things together.
The whole year has been kind of crazy. And I can't say that this year has been bad at all, because I think for me, career-wise, this has been the most fruitful year in a way. But it has been tough. Like I was doing my last semester in my master's degree, and then COVID happened. Everything got shut down, and classes were online, and I had to graduate somehow. And I was planning this conceptual performance with like TV screens and all that. Like I prepared a lot for it, and then that happened. So was kind of waiting, like, okay, how is this gonna continue?
Wow.
What are the precautions that we need to take?
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided to make a full studio live album, obviously with
Okay.
safe precautions and people in
Right,
distance and
right.
wearing masks and
Okay.
everything like that. But yeah, that was in June.
Wow, it's in June.
Yeah.
Okay, so how many people play in the band?
Full band, so 9.
9 people. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
For a lot of musicians, we know how hard it is to put this together, like a band or people who can play at one single time. Not to mention the rehearsals and the performance. To have like 4, it's pretty difficult to put the schedules together. In the middle of the pandemic, it's another challenge.
It's not a challenge for sure. So we wanted to do the least amount of rehearsals. So we actually only did one rhythm section rehearsal. I did a separate rehearsal with the horns, a separate rehearsal with the backing vocals, and then we didn't even have one full band rehearsal. We
Wow.
went straight in, 8 hours, 8 tracks, that's it.
Wow, 8 hours and doing 8 tracks. And all the songs that you've been doing is new stuff or?
Partially. So Worth It is on there, Pioneer's on there, Purge is on there, and those are all been previously
Right.
released in a produced setting, produced form. These are the live band arrangements, and there's some new goodie in there, some new goodies.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice, very nice. What is the message that you're trying to convey? Is in any album that you have like a particular message that you're trying to pass on?
In a sense, yeah. I think, this project took so many different forms and so many different shapes, and I already had this concept and this album in mind like 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
But it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of planning and financing and figuring everything out to make it together and make it work. So 2 years ago, I didn't expect it to be a live album, but
Okay, yeah.
things happen for a reason, and I'm actually really excited. The album is called Tomorrow's Mind, and in one of the lyrics of a song, I say, "Tomorrow's mind ain't nothing but a yesterday's guide."
Okay.
So
wow.
it's
That's
a little deep. That really explains the topic of the album. Then there's one new tune, which I'm not going to say the title for yet.
Okay.
But I feel like that is the glue to the whole album. That is
Okay.
basically the answer to Tomorrow's Mind. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. So what's the songs that you want to work on today? With me?
Today. Oh, well, actually, let's do Imperfect.
Imperfect?
Yeah.
It's not in the album.
Oh. You want to say, what do you mean? I thought you were going to...
With it.
Oh! I just... That's the worst thing.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, sorry. Let's do Worth It.
Let's do it. There you go.
Shifting the waters, turning so dry. Why are you always picking the fights? Guess that you're tired, well so am I. Let's slow it down. Been fantasizing about what could have been. Thought that I knew you, but I don't know a thing. No, you're not broken, but this just ain't working. You would always say that I love too much, but my heart was open, yours was closing up. It's hard for me to fake, so hard for me to fake it. But I just need to say, I don't have to strip my heart naked to find my bleeding stars. When I break the silence, you'll hear the sirens, 'cause I know I'm worth it. I can handle all of my bruises, 'cause I was born with scars. You can see it in my eyes, I'm the phoenix that's rising. And I know I'm worth it. I'm my father's daughter, he gave me his eyes. My mother's example to let my love shine. Sometimes it's hard for me, so hard for me to see it. That little girl, she's staring at me, could see on her face what I used to be. Oh, she won't be silenced. I don't have to strip my heart naked to find my bleeding scars. When I break the silence, you'll hear the sirens, 'cause I know I'm worth it. I can handle all of my bruises, 'cause I was born with scars. You can see it in my eyes, I'm the phoenix that's rising, and I know I'm worth it, yeah. No, I'm worth it, yeah. And I know I'm worth it.
All right, that's Worth It by Kia Knoester.
Knoester. Co-written with Simon J, Daniel,
J,
Daniel
Daniel.
Capolaro.
Say it out loud.
Simon J, Daniel Capolaro. They co-wrote the song with me, and it's a very personal story. You know, sometimes when we're in relationships, any kind of relationships, we tend to forget what's important and try to see things in a more clear way, and you just got to remind yourself that you're worth it sometimes, you know?
Yeah, you know, like that's well, probably you wrote that song in the relationship perspective, but you know, like there's I see like probably for millennials and you know Gen Z and Gen X, there's a lot of self-esteem deficit. Don't you think?
I agree.
Yeah. So you know, like is it affecting you as a artist or as a human being?
In ways, I guess, yeah. I
Is
mean,
this something you struggle with, or you just?
I don't think I always like to see things in a positive way. As soon as I feel like I think everybody's struggling, you know? Like it just depends on how you're approaching it. If you can able to twist it into something positive, or getting I wouldn't say like hopeful thoughts, because that always sounds so heavy in a sense. But yeah, I don't think there are people out there that are not struggling with anything.
Yeah.
I don't believe that.
Well, can I go a little bit more personal here? What's your most insecure thing? What makes you feeling very insecure and self-conscious? Is it, let me make it broader now. Is it a career? Is it a personal life? Or is it a relationship? Is it finances or whatever it is?
Probably all of those things together.
Oh wow. But what is it that make you tick? What's the thing that will make you that will change your mood immediately when that thing's disturbed or intervene?
That's a really tough question.
That makes a good interview. I wasn't so bad after all.
No. I think I really gotta think about this one. Hold on.
Take your time. You want to pass?
No. I think insecurity itself, if that makes sense.
Elaborate.
Not knowing, and this is why I wrote the song, for example, because we don't know what will happen in the future, and sometimes you gotta take yourself back and stop caring about that too much. I think that's what sometimes make me insecure, and especially like, you know, making the decision to move out here, for example, or staying here is another thing, getting an artist visa somehow. Like those are all such insecure ways that will affect my life in huge ways. Like I don't know for sure if I'm able to stay here and work with all these people that I'm working with right now. Might be a chance that I have to go back to the Netherlands, and then what? Like those are kind of insecurities that will stress me out in certain times.
But I thought that was the one that fueled you.
That's where I was going at, because that does like I try to flip that around like instantly. Like that gives me motivation to do to work harder to get where I want to be. Like that was the whole reason how I got here in the first place, basically. And I think like I always need that fuel.
Yeah.
And I have to find it in my insecurities, I think.
Wow. So in other words, what she said is, let me rephrase it and see if I got it correctly.
Okay.
So your uncertainty, in a moment of uncertainty, that's what your insecurity boils up. Is it? Okay. Oh, that's interesting. And I know that you're very determined. When you say, I gotta do this, usually that happens. Tell me about your experience, your entrepreneurial spirit in Netherlands when you have like a jam sessions and all that, and festivals.
Right, yeah, organized festival.
Right. Tell me about that.
I think persistence is key in everything that you do. And you're right. I'm like, it could be perceived as stubborn because I think I'm also pretty stubborn and impulsive. But I know very clearly if I want something, I'll find a way to make that work somehow. And if somebody tells me like, oh, you can't do that or that's not possible, like I'll be like, I'll prove you wrong.
Right.
So in the Netherlands that translated into setting up jam sessions, weekly jam sessions, and for my final recital. So I met him during my exchange when I was here in LA for a couple of months, and then I had to go back to the Netherlands to graduate. So that was 6 months before I graduated. And I decided I wanted to organize this open air music festival for the whole city to see and open and accessible to anyone. And that's where I wanted to do my performance, and I wanted to have a full lineup of bands and acts playing. And so I did. I gathered a team, people that got just as excited as I was. Asked for funding from the city. They helped fund it. A lot of companies and even the Dutch bank funded parts of it. So that was amazing. That was just such an amazing day. And
how many days?
It was 1 day.
1 day festival.
Yeah. So it started around like 1-ish, line up until like 10, outdoor with a stage, and then I organized an after party with another 3 acts that were playing there in a venue.
How many? What is the budget? What is the final budget? Well, remind me, what year is this again?
This was in
2018 or 17? 2018.
Yeah, and that was the same year I came here.
Okay.
Right after.
Well,
So
that's
you gotta...
Dude, it's 2017.
No, when I came back second time.
Oh, okay, got it.
So you gotta think about it. You're planning this festival, and of course there were so many moments where I was
you were not there.
No, I was there.
Okay.
But I was also preparing, how am I going to get back to LA?
Oh, wow.
I had no intention to do a master's degree at all here. So that was all a big guess.
Wow.
And how are you going to finance that? Because LA, ladies and gentlemen, LA ain't cheap.
No, it's not. It's not cheap. But yeah, so that's something that I really admire about you, that you're, you're determined and very adventurous. Is that a correct?
Oh, yeah, I'd say so.
That doesn't scare you?
No, I think if I don't have that in my life, I'll be bored. And when I get bored, I do dumb stuff. So
yeah.
Yeah.
So what makes you want to be a musician? When is the point that you say, all right, this is it. I'm gonna be a singer. I'm gonna be a songwriter, as a career, not as just a hobby, because those two things they're different. Two different things.
They're different. Well, I started late in general with singing. I was like 17. Most people start when they're like, I don't know, I guess it differs, but I thought it was pretty late. And I've done a lot of different studies, and you gotta think early on what you want to be in life, and heck, we don't know what we're going to be at that age. So I had no clue. It took me, it's probably like a 6-year long route to actually figure out. Okay,
6 years.
Kind of.
Wow.
Yeah, I did a lot. I did nursing for 2 years.
Yeah, you told me about that.
And
you were a surgical
I did
Nurse.
no, I didn't, just a regular nurse,
Okay.
British nurse. The studies.
Okay.
And then after that, I did an internship for a surgeon assistant, which I thought was really, really cool. But it's such a closed off world, and I think I really need to be around people and not the same people day in, day out in a small space and no contact with a patient. So that was not it.
That's not your.
No, I
Yeah.
always loved traveling.
Okay.
I've traveled since I was young. I wanted to do this high school exchange and whatnot.
Costa Rica,
Costa
right?
Rica.
Yeah.
I was in the U.S. for half a year as well, and um, I don't know. Like it always drawn me to go here, but I didn't know that back then.
Okay.
Maybe subconsciously, probably most likely subconsciously. And I'll tell you in a bit why. So I started singing seriously when I did a performing arts school.
Okay.
So after all these studies that I tried out and all didn't really feel right, didn't work, I applied to a performing arts school. And I did that for about a year and a half. And then I kind of took a leave on just doing an audition for the conservatory, Artes, Jazz and Pop. And I got in somehow. I guess from that point. So that was 2014.
Oh wow, wow. I don't know if we can talk about this. I don't know if it's too personal for the world to hear, but actually that you told me a story that actually very inspired me so much, that you have a teacher that say that you can't sing. Can you tell me that story? Or can we go there?
Yeah, that was probably about my first performing arts school.
Okay.
And
before our test.
Before our test. Yeah. A time before our test.
Wow.
And he was probably right. I probably couldn't sing.
You accepted as a as a reality check?
Looking back, yes, for sure. I mean, I had no experience. Like I said, I started singing really late and I had no lessons. I had no technique. I just liked singing. It probably sounded like shit. So maybe it was right. But, you know, like I said, don't tell me I can't do anything because...
Well, that's... Okay, now, she just make me admire her even more because, you know, if somebody tell me that, I'm going to say, beep you, first of all. And then years later, I would still say, beep you. But, you know, like, you own up to it. Well, I don't know. I don't know how was your singing back in the day. But you think that it helps you grow?
Yeah. No, I don't need to hear constantly, you can't do this, you can't do that, because that will make me depressed someday.
Right.
But every now and then I think it's a little good for me.
Okay. But it didn't
I mean, it hurts.
scare you.
It hurts. It's like somebody gives you a little
But it bounce off?
jab in the face. No, it just takes time. The older you get. The older you get, the more perspective you have on it, and maybe that was his intention in the first place.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Oh, the way you take criticism is admirable. Admirable. Very good.
Thank you.
Well, because we are all imperfect.
So this is a
segue.
great moment.
Yeah, I know. That's amazing. I'm not that bad as an interviewer. You know? Like,
not at
I'm
all.
not that bad. Okay.
Not at all.
This is gonna be a song that we're gonna do together again. It's called Imperfect. It's from a movie called
Fearless animation movie.
Tell us about that. What is that? What movie is that?
It's an animation movie on Netflix, and my good friend Anne Catherine Dern and Lars Hempel, they composed the score for it. And one day I got a call and they're like, well, actually Anne, she's like, you know, I have this idea, but I need to get the green light from the producers, so let me get back to you. And I'm like, sure, go ahead. And then she told me she had the green light, and it was basically because they needed to add an extra song in the perspective of the female lead character, because they made all songs in the male lead character. So they wanted to add it to the soundtrack. So we came up with this within a couple days and got approved, and it's on the soundtrack. So
nice.
Play
when was it? When was the soundtrack as an album? It's actually released. When was that? A couple of months ago or weeks?
So I think there are 2 albums. One is the complete film score, and the other one are the songs.
Oh, just compilations of songs.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow, that's exciting. So, all right, without further ado, let's hear us playing Imperfect, very imperfectly.
Sometimes feels like I can see, caught up inside my mind. Someday I will be ready to leave and leave behind. I'm charting a course. Don't just drift where the current goes. Know that deep down inside, gotta be free to soar into the sky. I am fearless and brave too, imperfect, just like you. Slow down and let my mind rest. Be loved for who I am. This time it'll be my quest. This is where it begins. What would you do? Afraid that I won't pull through. Know that deep down inside, gotta be free to soar into the sky. I am fearless and brave too, imperfect, just like you. I am fearless now. I'll come undone. I'm perfectly alive.
All right, that was Imperfect by Kia Knoester, and
Catherine Dern.
okay, that's a beautiful song actually.
Thank
That's
you.
a very beautiful song. You know, like I didn't even tell you any theme, right, for these conversations, right?
No.
But it seems like we go towards, self-esteem and stuff like that. Just own up yourself. Is that
Be vulnerable.
be vulnerable? Yeah. There has been a lot of conversations with a lot of people nowadays. What do you think is that?
Conversations like what?
Like the vulnerability, is it this society nowadays value too much perfections or what?
I think there are always times where society values perfection.
A little bit too much.
I think it's up to the people.
Mm.
Um,
What is perfections for you? What is perfection for yourself? Is it something that is unattainable ideology, or is it something in the
I
horizon,
think
or what is it?
perfection is so subjective.
Mm.
Perfection is different to everybody.
Mm.
It's the question is, when are you satisfied?
Mm.
What makes you satisfied? Like, the concept of perfection is scary because it'll always be a standard that is not your own, right?
A standard that is not your own.
Mm-hmm. Either your own perspective of looking at something that needs to be at a certain level,
Mm-hmm.
or a society pressure that tells you that it has to be a certain level, but in the end they're intertwined. Like I think it just comes down to what can you be okay with?
What can you
When
be okay
can
with?
you be okay with it?
Well, that's a very difficult questions. Well, I'm because I'm looking at the perspective of us working in the art.
Mm-hmm.
We cannot achieve perfections in art. Is it? Well, that's my perspective. What about you? Is there a point where we say that our art is perfect, the song is perfect, the score is perfect, the film is perfect?
No.
No. So, is that something that you're trying to achieve, or
I think there's always. I always put high standards, high goals for myself. I always want to do things good. But yeah, I guess I don't think I've ever heard a musician say like this was perfect or this went perfect. I don't think I've ever said it myself either when I'm like thinking back now. I'd say it went good or I'm happy with this.
I'm happy with that. Yeah.
But there's always try for
Right.
better.
Well, this is the thing. Like I know that you've been working like a film project. Film project is deadline based.
Yeah.
But there's another project that you've been doing, which is what is that? The live album project. The writing process can go indefinitely.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to set deadlines and set parameters. If you don't have that, it'll never go anywhere.
Right.
Set deadlines with or like tight deadlines with like film, music, or commercials or stuff like that. Like you have no other choice. It's either that or you lose the job. You're fired.
Correct.
So you gotta turn and that's the thing to me. If we are able to turn on that creative knot, then we're also able to do that when we're working on our own projects. That little voice of being perfectionist, like that is also just a knob. So just turn that knob a little down.
Let's go a little bit more under like a creative process, but in a nitty gritty stuff. When you're writing, what's your first step? What is your first attempt, or what is your first what do you call it?
Emotion.
That's
my
You're
first
trying
thing.
to harvest the emotion?
Yes. Emotion.
Tell for people who are not a songwriter or not a musicians, because some people here are not a musicians, but they're aspire to be a musicians, or they're just a music enthusiast. So tell us a little bit more in the mechanical aspect of that too.
So as writers, as creators, but also as listeners, I think we are always looking for emotion. We're always looking for how it makes us feel, or how it was intended for somebody else to feel, or how the writer felt about it. Like emotions are such a strong thing, and I think that's kind of what we're communicating in music in general. So being able to grab that as a writer or creator, that I think is a very powerful tool to start with.
So how do you do that let's tell me like the first hour of your songwriting process?
Well, it depends on what the starting point is. So
do you have a set starting point?
It always differs. My preference when I'm writing for myself, I guess I always start off with chords and then melody and then lyrics. And sometimes chords, lyrics, melody. It's barely the other way around, that I start with melody first and then the rest. I do sometimes start with just lyrics. Like if you look at my notes, they're like full with lyrics. And then sometimes when I'm writing, I'm trying to write on a beat, so I have a certain rhythm in my head, or I'm just doing free writing. And by itself, it'll start rhyme, which is kind of interesting to see. So it's like a subconscious rhythm, I guess.
Well, I'm not a songwriter, so can you tell me more about what is that? Free writing?
Free writing.
Free writing, what is that?
Writing anything that comes to your mind.
Are you talking about actual writing, or you're on the microphone with your DAW?
Oh, no, I'm actually either writing pen and paper, old school.
Okay, like a psychologist way of free writing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Or on your phone, like typing.
Right.
I prefer the old school writing. It just, even though my handwriting is ridiculously bad, I can read it, and I think that's all that matters. Okay. So nobody can steal my songs because they can't read what I write.
So, well, that's a good way of protecting your art. But there's a copyright law
Yeah, I
nowadays
know.
that can protect you. Not very good, but it works. We on the pandemic, I wrote a beat for like a minute, and we tried to hit the 1 minute mark.
Yeah.
For me, that was pretty. This I never envisioned it's gonna be that way. Like
You mean the videos we did?
yeah. The two songs. Oh, by the way, I didn't launch it yet, but it's just vignettes, bunch of 1 minute music. Actually, only 7 that I put in there. It's called Current Affair,
Check it out.
and Kia here wrote 2 songs for that, which is actually what do you call it? Is it a song? I just call it the vignettes because it's not
Yeah.
a song. It's not a.
We should make songs out of it though.
Yeah.
Honestly,
for sure.
I'm thinking about doing after this live album is out. I'm thinking about making something neo soul,
Yeah.
and that would fit perfectly. We should
Yeah.
make full tracks
Yeah.
out of it.
Yeah, but like it was pretty fast, I guess. Especially the first one, which is there's divisions and reflections. I remember that the reflections come very quickly too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was kind of based on the pandemic, and I think it was raining at that time, which is really weird because it doesn't really rain a lot here in LA. So that's why it happened, like cozy nights and rainy days.
Consciously, I'm wide awake, triggered by the same mistakes that we made before.
Do you remember all your songs?
Most of the time, yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Do you remember everything that you write?
No,
Why?
no, I don't. There's a switch in my mind every time I wrote something.
Forget it?
Every time I submit it or finish it, it just
Done.
boom.
It's out.
Until I listen, oh, that's my song. But if you told me like, oh, do you know this? How does it sound like? I'm gonna be like, this one? Not sure. I'm not very sure.
I think it's easier for a lyricist to memorize lyrics. No?
That's what I thought. Like, no. That's what I think should not be the right answer because
Why?
lyric is the hardest things to. For me, I never remember any lyrics in my
Because
life.
have you ever written lyrics? Have you ever sung
did.
lyrics?
I wrote it very badly. Like,
and you weren't able to memorize it?
Not.
Because I feel, for me personally, I feel that it's easier because you have a story in mind when you're writing. And that story you won't easily forget. So that's kind of how I memorize everything.
Oh, wow. So you can memorize all the songs that you have written. So do you know, like, do you catalog yourself, like how many songs that you have these far? Like a full-blown song. It doesn't have to be produced, but like it's written down, melody already made and lyrics already written.
Well, there are a lot of scratches, so... And
no,
even
like, I mean the one that you say that, okay, we were talking about perfections, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like at least you say that, okay, this is finished. This is a finished song. Not produced yet, but it could not be produced yet, but finished song.
If I know all of them, for sure.
How many of them? Is it in the 10s?
For like 30s.
In 30s, wow. And you can memorize all of them.
Yeah.
Wow. Are you a slow writer or is you a fast writer?
That depends.
That depends.
I can be a very fast writer, I noticed, because of those tight deadlines that I started doing with all those film music. I haven't written in a little while for myself. And most of the songs that were on the album have been written before, and that has been a while ago now. So I'm actually really anxious and excited to start writing for myself again. So
I'm actually curious, not because I know the answers, but because I'm struggling with these questions. I mean, this problem is when I'm writing for myself, there's no end for me. That's why we talk about that. It feels like, okay, because this is for myself. It's not going anywhere. I'll put it aside.
Well, that's the way you should never. You should never think like that. Sorry.
No. Yeah. Well, that's my honest problem. Like like
you gotta somehow find a way to turn that into everything is always going somewhere. Because then there's always a pressure.
Right.
And I think we work better. We work better under
Pressure.
a little pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you start a songs, Do you, when there's no order or anything, there's no submission deadline or anything, do you give yourself a clear deadline? Okay, I'm writing from here to tomorrow, and that's it. No more
Yeah.
revisions, no more
Yeah.
nothing.
Sometimes you shy away from that, but I try. I think that really helped me getting things done,
Okay.
finish things, because that's been the hardest part for a lot of musicians.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
you know, a lot of people that I know are writers. They struggle with that, finishing something up. There's always
Right.
gazillion scratches, but
Right.
like you got to
Right.
push yourself to make something from the beginning to end.
All right, that was a very interesting conversations that we have. We're gonna wrap it up pretty soon, but what's your plan for the holidays? Are you gonna stay here, or are you going back to Netherlands?
I'm gonna stay here. There's still a travel ban. I mean, I could go to the Netherlands,
Well,
but
you
probably
can.
not back to the US.
Oh, really? Why is that? The Netherlands wouldn't let you?
Well, I think because I'm Dutch, I can go there.
Okay.
But I think
there's a spike in Europe too.
Yeah, and definitely here in the US. So in the
Okay.
US, I think unless you have a green card or different type of visa, you're able to get back in. But I'm not trying to take that risk. Like, I haven't seen my family in a long time, and that's the little sad part. But you know, luckily we have like Skype, and
Yeah.
we
Wow.
talk to each other every day. But
Do you a big person on holiday?
I love the holiday season.
Yeah.
It gives that nice warm feeling.
Well, it's a little bit different for my friends in Indonesia because it's always hot in Indonesia.
Oh yeah.
You know, like, it's funny because they start drinking, like, I saw like my sister drinking a ginger something in Indonesia. Man, that's called badang jahe. That's when you go to that's when you go to the mountain and you drink that. But if you're in Jakarta or you're in Tangerang and you drink badang jahe, man, it's hot. It's hot over there. It's like California in the summer, and then they drinking all those things. That's meant to be European or people in the northern hemisphere. And have you been having a Christmas in Australia or something, like in the southern hemisphere?
No.
Have that happened to you?
No, never. I've only had it here in the U.S. and back in the Netherlands. And when I was younger, it was actually really cold in the Netherlands. You have like white Christmases with snow, but that doesn't happen nowadays anymore.
Oh, I
Global warming.
I never see a snow in my life.
You never see snow?
10 years in the United States of America, no single time I've ever seen snow.
Go up to the mountains.
Well, I know.
Big Bear is really close. It's a 2-hour drive and you have snow.
My life is all about
this boy's got to get out of the house. That's what he gets.
We were shooting it in my place, in my house. I should have been doing something else with my life, But But I'm happy with my life, though.
We should go there one day. We've done
we
a couple times with a group. Just have like a writing retreat. Maybe get like JD and Isaac and just write some stuff.
I'm gonna have them come here too for the next one. Yeah, but it's cold. I don't know if I can handle that too. And in a way, I'm not trying to avoid snow, but I don't know if I can handle it because I'm still Indonesian in the skin. Like, when it gets cold, I wrap up myself like pretty good. My roommate didn't even use heater, and I've been blasting my heater night in, night out. But yeah, so what are you gonna sing for Christmas?
The Christmas
Just a Christmas song.
Just a Christmas song.
Just a Christmas song. Well, we're gonna wrap it up with a Christmas song. I'm gonna play piano, and she kind of sings that beautiful song of a Christmas song. And thank you for watching, and thank you, Kia, for coming to my place.
Yes,
you're always welcome anytime.
You don't make that soto soon.
Oh yeah. In the beginning of the year, she promised me to cook me a soto, and pandemic happens. I remember he went somewhere. You went to Arizona or something?
No. I went to
Detroit, somewhere.
Texas.
You went to Texas. I was like, hell no, in the pandemic, she's not going there and then going to my place.
I was to my sister.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking for her soto. Well, it's a bomb. But thank you so much, Kia, for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and here we go. This is Christmas song.
Chestnuts roasting on an open fire. Jack Frost nipping at your nose. Yuletide carols being sung by a choir and folks dressed up like Eskimos. Everybody knows a turkey and some mistletoe help to make a season bright. Tiny tots with their eyes all aglow will find it hard to sleep tonight. They know that Santa's on his way. He's loaded lots of toys and goodies on his sleigh. And every mother's child is gonna spy to see if reindeer really knows how to fly. And so I'm offering this simple phrase to kids from 1 to